Manfred von Richthofen was not just a pilot. He was a living legend who changed aerial combat forever. Manfred von Richthofen, also known as the Red Baron, is one of the most famous fighter pilots in history, and for good reason. His impressive skills in the skies and his iconic red Fokker dr.i triplane have made him a household name. But what made this German pilot so feared by his enemies and revered by his allies? When we think of World War I, we often imagine trench warfare, artillery bombardments, and massive losses on the ground. But the war also saw the dawn of aerial combat, and Richthofen was at the forefront of this new form of warfare. His reputation was built on his aerial prowess, and his name became synonymous with fear and respect. Richthofen's impact on the war effort was significant, and his legend has endured long after the guns fell silent. He remains an enigmatic figure, shrouded in mystery and romance. But behind the myths and legends, there was a real person, a complex and multifaceted individual who lived, fought, and died in the skies above the Western Front. In this video, we'll delve into the life and career of Manfred von Richthofen, exploring his rise to fame, his tactics, and his ultimate fate. We'll examine the world of World War I aviation and how Richthofen dominated the skies. So, let's take to the air and discover the story of the Red Baron. The outbreak of World War I marked a new era in warfare, with mass conscription, trench warfare, and the introduction of tanks and airplanes. In the early years of the war, aircraft were mainly used for reconnaissance, but as the conflict dragged on, their role evolved to include combat missions. The Germans were quick to recognize the potential of air power, and they invested heavily in building a strong air force. By 1916, the German Air Force was taking shape, with squadrons of fighter planes patrolling the skies above the Western Front. Richthofen, who had previously served in the cavalry, saw an opportunity to transfer to the Air Force and make a name for himself. He was an unlikely candidate, with no prior flying experience, but he had a natural talent for machines and a thirst for adventure. Richthofen's big break came when he joined Jägerschwader 1, an elite flying unit commanded by the legendary Hauptmann Oswald Bolk. Bolk was a pioneer of aerial combat, and he taught Richthofen the skills he needed to survive in the skies. Under Bolk's guidance, Richthofen quickly proved himself to be a natural fighter pilot, with a keen eye and a steady hand. Richthofen's successes in the air soon made him a celebrity in Germany, and he was feted as a hero by the press and the public. He was nicknamed the Red Baron, thanks to his bright red Fokker dr.i triplane, which became an iconic symbol of German air power. As his fame grew, so did his legend, and he became a mythical figure, feared by his enemies and revered by his allies. Richthofen's flying unit, Jägerschwader 1, was the most feared and respected in the German Air Force. Nicknamed the Flying Circus, it was a colorful and deadly outfit, with brightly painted planes and a reputation for bravery. The unit was a tight-knit community, with Richthofen at its heart, and it was here that he developed his tactics and honed his skills. Richthofen's greatest asset was his ability to think on his feet and adapt to any situation. He was a master of improvisation, able to turn a desperate situation into a victory. He was also a skilled tactician, able to outmaneuver his opponents and catch them off guard. His successes in the air were due in part to his bravery, but also to his cunning and intelligence. Richthofen's life was one of contrasts, a mix of highs and lows, of triumphs and tragedies. He was a complex and multifaceted individual, driven by a desire to succeed, but also haunted by the shadows of war. He was a romantic, with a love of nature and a passion for the beauty of flight. But he was also a warrior, with a killer instinct and a willingness to do whatever it took to win. As Richthofen's fame grew, so did the pressure on him to perform. He was under constant scrutiny, with the German high command breathing down his neck, demanding more victories and more heroics. He was also under attack from his enemies, with British and French pilots determined to bring him down. Despite the challenges, Richthofen remained undaunted, continuing to score victory after victory in the skies above the Western Front. He was a marvel of modern warfare, a living legend who seemed invincible. But beneath the surface, he was struggling, worn down by the constant pressure and the weight of responsibility. Richthofen's biggest challenge came in the form of the Sopwith Camel, a British fighter plane that was faster and more agile than anything he had faced before. The Camel was a game changer, and Richthofen was forced to adapt his tactics to counter its strengths. He was also facing mechanical failures, with his beloved Fokker dr.i triplane beginning to show its age. The psychological toll of war was also taking its toll on Richthofen. He was haunted by the ghosts of his fallen comrades, and he was beginning to question the morality of war. He was a romantic who loved nature and hated the ugliness of conflict. But he was also a warrior who knew that he had a job to do. Despite his doubts and fears, Richthofen remained committed to his duty, continuing to fly and fight with his trademark bravery and skill. He was a true hero, a man who had transcended the boundaries of mortal men and become a legend in his own lifetime. But his time was running out, and he knew it. On April 21, 1918, Richthofen took to the skies for the last time, leading his flying circus on a mission to intercept a formation of Sopwith camels. The battle was intense, with planes swirling and dancing in the skies above the Western Front. Richthofen was in his element, leading the charge and scoring victory after victory. But it was not to be. Richthofen was hit by a single bullet, fired by an unknown Australian gunner on the ground. He crashed to his death, his bright red Fokker dr.i triplane nose-diving into the mud of a French field. The Red Baron was no more, and the war would never be the same again. Richthofen's legacy was cemented in the years that followed, as he became a symbol of German air power and a hero of the German people. He was a true legend, a man who had lived and died in the skies above the Western Front. His story is one of bravery, skill, and tragedy, a testament to the power of human courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Today, Richthofen remains an enigmatic figure, a mystery wrapped in an enigma. We can still learn from his story left his mark on the world. In conclusion, Manfred von Richthofen was a true legend, a man who lived and died in the skies above the Western Front. His story is one of bravery, skill, and tragedy, a testament to the power of human courage in the face of overwhelming odds. We can still learn from his example and be inspired by his story. If you're interested in learning more about Manfred von Richthofen and the world of World War I aviation, be sure to check out our other videos on the subject. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and consider subscribing. We'll see you in the next video.